Reading 101 from the Psychological Commentaries on the Teaching of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky by Dr. Maurice Nicoll, Volume 3. Great Animal House, December 13th, 1947. Commentary on Aim. Work idea. In the work it is said that it is necessary to have aim. Without aim, we in the work drift. Commentary. In speaking of aim, once, Mr. Ouspensky said that there is far aim and near aim. The situation is like this, he said, in so many words. Let us suppose a man is climbing at night up a road lit by gas lamps. As he nears the top, he sees a gas lamp shining and thinks it is close at hand at the top of the hill. But on reaching the summit, he sees it is across a valley, and many other gas lamps intervene between him and it. It is the same thing in the work. We make an aim, but we do not first see all that must be passed through before we can attain it. You can see that Mr. Ouspensky's illustration can be added to. As for instance, we may find that the distant lamp one aims to reach lies on a branch road so that one's direction has to be altered, and so on. But whatever we add to it, the main idea is that people must have patience and not expect instant results, and also look at the quality of the effort they are making in connection with their aim. Aim can only be attained when that which wants it lies deep. It cannot be made superficially, say, from false personality. Why? Because it is not deep enough. Now, on one occasion, at which my wife and myself were present, Mr. Ouspensky had arranged many years ago for Gurdjieff to meet a large number of extremely wealthy, prominent people in London. After dinner, at which I noticed he ate and drank nothing, a meeting was held. Looking round at all these people, after a long silence, he said, "What do you want? If you can tell me, I will answer you whether I can help you or not." No one said a word. It appeared that the meeting was a failure. Yet I have often thought that at that moment, under the magic of Gurdjieff, people became aware of what they wanted as they were, and were ashamed to say anything. Shortly after, the meeting stopped and everyone talked 13 to the dozen. Why? Because for an instant they had been brought into a state of consciousness that made them uncomfortable. Now, in making aim, one must want it. Often one can make a theoretical aim, say to be a better man, a better woman. But this is not aim. I would say, well, better at what? Aim must have a definite formulation. To aim to be better in a vague sense is not asking. When it is said, asking ye shall receive, it means to ask something real, something you have seen and wish to change. Often, I have given you the example of a person going into a shop, the shop of the universe, and going to the counter, the person is asked, "What do you want?" The person hums and haws and says, "Oh, I really don't know. I want, Yes, what do you want? Asks the shopkeeper. The person does not know. That is one reason why the work teaches you in detail, specifically, what you must observe in yourself and work against. If you went into that great shop and said, "Yes, I want to stop making these internal accounts against others. I want to cease always blaming life and others, always feeling resentful and thinking that others have not behaved rightly to me, always thinking that if I had different conditions, I would have been marvelous. I want you to sell me something to make me see I am wrong, because I dimly see the idea, and yet I cannot get hold of it deeply enough." Well, what do you think? That is a real request. Do you think the shopkeeper might hand you something? He might even smile slightly, even nicely. However, supposing he hands you something, nearly always a pair of shoes, then he may say in rather an insulting tone, "You've got to pay for all this. Hand over some cash." And then all your account-making, all your self-pity, all your sense of grievance that you lie on as on a bed in the background of yourself will probably make you resent this apparent roughness, and you will perhaps say, "How dare you speak to me like that?" And the shopkeeper will vanish, and you will then be sure that he vanishes in the smell of sulfur. For the devil is, first, all that you think should, but does not pity you. However, the devil is so often God. No, if you are going to buy help, if you know slightly what it is you want to buy to be of any use to you, remember you will have to pay for it. We live in an enclosed universe. How can you pay for getting rid of always being aggrieved, hurt, upset, in short of making continual inner accounts? The point is that there are two stages in aim. First, you begin through self-observation to formulate an aim, more or less clear to you. Second, you have to be able to pay to obtain it. Weak people make aim for a day or so and are disappointed when nothing happens. They have no idea of second force. They are like people who say, "I would like to be a millionaire or a Hollywood star," and when nothing happens and no one notices, they get sick in their souls and give it all up. They have no idea that to get anywhere, either in life or in this work, requires effort. It requires money to pay for it. That is, effort, which earns psychological money. That is, the power to buy from the great shop that rewards effort, especially intelligent effort. Now, if you want a thing in life deeply enough, you may possibly get it after hard work for years. It is the same in the work. Notice that to really want is to be independent of local, temporary, outside criticism. False personality depends on what others think of you. That is, an audience. Real aim needs no audience. It is deeper, more genuine, essential. If you make an aim in the work, as for instance, not to feel always this background of tears, discontent, of being not appreciated, which is one form of inner accounting, then if you really want not to have it, after some time it will be given you not to have it, usually in short flashes. But only if you really want this aim and have realized what it might mean not to have it, will it eventually be given you fully. You are tested first. People love their negative emotions. Remove these by magic. Then do you think they will praise you? No, they will hate you. This is our curious situation, about which at one time O talked endlessly. To have a clean, hard bed to rest on is a difficult acquisition. Now the work indicates that it does not matter what you have been or what you are. It asks, in Gurdjieff's quiet words, "What do you want?" Say you are content with yourself, then you are dead. You want nothing, and the work is about what you want, not what you were or are, but what you want now. That is why, as you get older, the work can mean more and more to you, unless you have settled down long ago into a complacent idea of yourself. That is, crystallized out in some conventional views of what you should be. Work always means new life. So it asks, what do you want? And cares little for what you have been or are now. Now, it has been said many times in the work that a man is not defined by his income, distinctions, social level, the size of his body or his strength, etc., but by his understanding. So you will see that one thing can be added here. A man is not only his understanding, but what he wants. And what he wants will naturally arise from the level of his understanding. I sometimes say to you, by way of commentary, that we wish supremely to go upstairs. Identifying negative emotions, fixed conventional attitudes, pictures, inner accounts, being always asleep, imagination about yourself, buffers, stupid eyes, absurd vanity and pride. In fact, all the work teaches practically is not allowed upstairs. We have been taught what not to be, what to separate from, what, as it were, not to wear, for clothes symbolize inner attitudes. If we wish to reach a higher level, that is why dress is so important. psychological dress. To go upstairs, as I call it, requires special dress. I mean, a man dressed in his life egotism will not get far upstairs, nor will he be able to buy anything at the great shop of which I have spoken. You see, he will not for a moment believe he is wrongly dressed for the job. He thinks he is worthy of climbing right up the ray of creation and meeting the Absolute. I fear he might not be able to do so, and have very good reason for saying this. But I admit it takes many long years to realize, first, that one is not exactly God, and second, one has all this time assumed one was. Yes, it is a difficult situation to meet, and a humiliating one that few can face. That is one reason why the work says that unless you can believe in greater mind, you can never do this work. You may exclaim, "But I have never assumed I am God." Are you quite sure? Did you not always think you were right? Have you not always in action behaved as if you were right and the other person wrong? And perhaps without having observed it, you have felt superior to others. Now in the Gospels, which chiefly, on the practical side, are about the Pharisee in us, very much is said about this state of mind, and the necessity of realizing as fact, not as a lisping, sentimental pretense, that one is nothing. The work says, unless a man, a woman, can begin to realize their own nothingness as a fact of self-observation, nothing can take place in them. At the Institute in France, we were told, here, personality counts as nothing. Now, aim made from false personality only increases false personality. How long it takes to observe what false personality is in oneself. Some think that the basic practical work, beginning with lifelong observation in oneself of false personality, negative states, inner considering, different eyes, fixed conventional attitudes, inner contradictions, special self-imaginations, vanity and pride, those two giants, as Gurdjieff called them, that walk in front of us and arrange our lives beforehand, as well as the gradual seeing of buffers, pictures, the realization of one's mechanicalness, noticing how you behave and the impression it makes on others. In short, all the work teaches that one must observe in oneself. I say, some seem to think that all this is elementary. They could not be greater fools. This personal work of self-observation is for all one's life. Out of it comes the dawning of real aim, which is in its greatest formulation the desire to awaken. In my case, I seek to awaken from Dr. Nicole. And so, in each of your cases, the greatest aim is to awaken from what you have hitherto called yourself. This is only possible through self-observation. Then people find specifically what particular features in themselves keep them identify with themselves and so prevent any awakening from taking place. Then they can begin to see where their aim really lies. Then indeed they can pray, that is, ask for help intelligently. They may get it, but only by paying for it. That is, by the sacrifice of something hitherto precious to them. You cannot get to a new state, to a higher level, that is, you cannot go upstairs, unless you sacrifice something belonging to your old state, and deeply from essence. As you know, originally the work said, first of all, you must sacrifice your suffering. This is a very good aim, but have you ever thought that unless you observe yourself daily, you will never see your form of suffering? It takes years and years of work, and if you cannot see a thing in yourself, how on earth do you expect to change it? Can you change what you are unconscious of? So I repeat that self-observation along the original lines of the work is the continual task of all connected with my branch of this work.